Somewhere in space, this may all be happening right now.
It's the Pop Culture Hour. I'm your host, Johnny, and with me is the amazing Emily Lind. How are you, Emily?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing, Johnny?
I am good. And that's the end of the introductions for the cast members today for the Pop Culture Hour. Unless we want to fill it up a little bit and say Bill Beck is an amazing producer. And once again, check his magic out on the Pop Culture Hour YouTube channel. He puts out fresh content daily. But yeah, no Mike.
I mean, he's got bosses to shout at.
That's the boss. Fuck you, boss. That's the boss. Fuck you, boss. That's the boss. Fuck you, boss. That's the boss. Fuck you, boss.
There is history behind that, though. There is like a DNA.
Hey,
on that.
Pappas, the bus is just doing its job, mate.
He's got like parks to drunkenly walk around in. He's got shit to do.
It's you know what? Normally I would make fun of him. Normally there would be a story to tell, but like he didn't respond to any of the texts. He didn't respond yesterday. He didn't respond a couple hours ago. He didn't respond 10 minutes ago. So I'm actually a little bit worried about him. So please, everyone, if you can, in the tri-state area, call your local hospital, rehab clinics, massage parlors, and see if you can find Mr. Michael Pappas. Serious business. But there actually is a little serious business today. Chadwick Boseman passed away today, hours ago. 43 years old, colon cancer, absolute gut punch.
Yeah. I mean, he's only 43, and not that he had any like requirement to do so, but this wasn't something he was public about it at all. So it is extremely, like, it just like seems completely out of nowhere, even though, apparently he has been battling this for 4 or 5 years. It's awful.
I mean, it's absolutely terrible. Like, FU cancer. Just terrible. And, so let's talk a little bit about him. He obviously, people know him as the Black Panther. I was first introduced to him through 42, which is a story of Jackie Robinson. And I saw most of his films. I actually have his Spike Lee joint queued up on my Netflix. So I think I'm going to watch that tonight. I got stuff to do tonight. Tomorrow, maybe morning, like with the coffee. You can't stop thinking about all the amazing things he did in children's hospitals, as the Black Panther, visiting sick kids as he was going through it himself, and then you hear about, some people taking pictures of him and he didn't have his T'Challa muscles and they would make fun of him for being skinny. It's like, well, now look, jerk. Like, he was obviously going through like, chemo at that time, or maybe that picture was, close to his passing, but like, just, FU internet for that. FU Screen Rant for like immediately putting up an article like, "Oh, what does this mean about Black Panther 2? How will Disney recast or blah, 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 blah," and all that bullshit.
I mean,
like, so, ugh.
Putting an article like that up the night that
Hours.
somebody passes away.
45
is,
minutes?
Like, I mean, just despicable. And, you know, they took it down and had a shitty, not very good apology about it. But and the thing is, like, that's like a major entertainment block. That's not like somebody, like some nobody on Twitter putting up a shitty article on their page that 5 people read. Like, you would think that Screen Rant articles have to go through multiple people, and apparently nobody thought, hey, this is incredibly terrible and gross to do.
Yeah, there's just I mean, I'm glad they took it down, but and you know what? We're going to have those conversations months from now, you know. So but not that night. Not that night.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not like you can never have that conversation, because obviously Black Panther is a character who means an incredible lot to so many people, but that should be the furthest thing from anybody's mind right now.
you know, so our hearts, thoughts, and prayers go out to his wife, his family, to all the people that he impacted. You know, I've said it a lot. I'm in education. The school I teach at is urban and, 99% African American. And when that movie came out, they were just all glowing. They all saw it. We showed it last year to some kids who won like a free day, you know what I mean? Like a little movie day, get out of class and watch a movie. And we showed that. And it was fun because it was like middle school kids, and a lot of them didn't even see it yet. And so I got to experience that in the room. And just, it's an important character, God bless Stan Lee for creating it when he did. God bless Chadwick Boseman for giving the role justice, doing it the right way, living his life the right way, being a role model on and off screen. So thoughts and prayers, rest in peace, Chadwick.
We must find a way to look after one another as if we were one single tribe.
Wakanda forever!
So we'll try and go on the show now. I didn't want to save that for the end, So how has your couple weeks been, Miss Emily Lind?
It's been okay. Not too much going on, and got some pop culture stuff in. I finally sat down and watched all of the Harley Quinn cartoon, which was originally on the now defunct DC Universe streaming, whatever that was called, service. It is now on HBO Max. Tons of fun. Highly recommend it. Not for kids. The pilot's a little rough and a little bit trying too hard to be edgy and adult, but once you get into it, it's actually really funny and surprisingly sweet and has great character development, and it's really good. And then today I watched 2 things. I watched the documentary Class Action Park on the disastrous action park in New Jersey that Johnny knows well. It's the most Jersey thing that ever existed. And
yes.
Then I watched Bill and Ted Face the Music.
All right, so I need you to write down and scribble the action park and the Bill and Ted. I want to try and because I have something to add to the Harley Quinn genre, and then we'll roll to DC and just kind of segue through our DC stuff. I saw the Harley Quinn movie.
Oh, Birds of Prey. What'd you think?
Not horrible.
I love it. I just rewatched it a couple nights ago.
I heard such horrible things. Now listen, let me stop. I went in expecting the worst. I went in expecting like Suicide Squad or even worse. And it wasn't that bad. I mean, Ewan McGregor wasn't great. He was over the top campy, but I know that's what he wanted to do, and it fit. Wish I saw a little more of the Black Mask. And I didn't really like the style of the Black Mask, but Ewan was over the top cheese, and he's like, I love the Arrow guy. How come I don't own the Arrow guy? But like, yeah, it was a popcorn crime action flick that had ridiculous action and unbelievable scenarios, and it was just popcorn fun, and it definitely wasn't as bad. And then the Huntress, is that the Arrow chick, the Arrow lady?
Huntress.
She looked familiar. Was she in she looked really familiar.
That is Mary Elizabeth Winstead, is that her name?
Oh no.
I think that's her name. She was in 10 Cloverfield Lane.
Was she in Scott Pilgrim?
Yes. She's Ramona Flowers.
Okay, so that's where I knew her from. Scott Pilgrim Saves the World is probably one of the best movies ever made, and doesn't get enough credit. So I didn't think she was good in this movie. That's why I brought it up. I didn't think she was very good.
It's hard because she's, sort of like that's a character that I think if you did a whole movie about her, you would get a lot more development. But she's, like fourth or fifth build in this movie. So you're just seeing sort of the silliness of the character and not much else.
Well, I think that was my problem. She was way too I'll use that word. That's a good word. She was way too silly. And the way they built her up was like, she horrifically saw her family murdered, and now she's on this revenge tour. So, like, I'm expecting this dark...
The violence is always fairly, like, tongue-in-cheek. Ethan Abbott's, like, horrific, like, some guy getting his legs broken.
Yeah, that was in the club in the beginning.
Yeah.
God damn it! Sit the fuck down.
What?
I said, sit your skinny ass down, you dumb slut.
Okay.
A little disappointed I didn't get to see Mr. J. I wanted to see Mr. J.
I mean, but that's the whole point, is that it's not about him.
I figured, like, end credit, him in the background. I mean, like, Jared Leto ain't busy.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I feel like they're trying so hard to move away from that Joker.
I liked that Joker.
Yeah, you're crazy.
I really... Okay, so I've had this conversation on, like, a lot of different podcasts, so I'll just kind of, like, just give you, like, the very short Cliff Notes. There I go, aging myself. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version, right? I feel that Joker is one of the closest Jokers we've seen to the crime prince of Gotham. Like, Jared Leto's Joker is the closest we have to, like, the gangster, money-loving, materialistic things, power-hungry, materialistic consumerism. Like, I want the money. Like, I'm not going to burn the money. I'm going to take the money and I'm going to spend it, and I'm going to have flashy purple Lamborghinis, Like, he's the closest we've seen of it. Like, Jared Leto, I feel, is closer to the comics that I grew up on than Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix. And Joaquin Phoenix and Heath Ledger are very similar to the I'm insane and I just want to see the world burn, to use the exact line from the movie. So they're similar. And then Jared Leto is the I'm into crime to make money. You know what I mean?
I just felt it's such an edge, like the edge guard, the facial tattoos and the grill, and it's just stupid. Like, I think all of that makes that character just like pathetic, where I want Joker to be scary. Okay.
I mean, look, I know I am alone on this island, and trying to order pizza is impossible from where I'm at. The whole world won't pick up the phone for me on this one, and that's okay, but that's what I liked about him. with all this, like, Ben Affleck's coming back for HBO Max, this and that, and the Snyder Cut, and we'll get into that in a sec. I think there's room for Jared Leto's Joker, like on HBO Max, fighting Ben Affleck's Batman and bringing in Harley Quinn, and I wouldn't mind seeing it. I don't think he'll do it. I think he's scarred and because he knows the world thinks he's the worst Joker ever, next to the kid in Gotham. No offense, you made a great Jedi video game. I appreciate it, but like your Joker is terrible. But yeah, we how about that? Jared Leto, small doses, HBO Max.
No, give me any other Joker. And also, nobody wants to work with Jared Leto because he's a huge fucking asshole who is like sending his castmates used condoms and dead rats and shit.
Yeah, he was trying to do that whole like method thing and everything. All right, segue. DC. I mentioned, we talked about Flashpoint, right?
I don't remember. Maybe.
Oh my God, did we?
Well, because we were going to record and then we didn't. So I don't think we actually did.
Oh, man. Oh, by the way, this is episode 6, everybody, I think. I don't know.
But no, Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton.
Yes. Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton, Flashpoint, Ezra. Yeah, because you're pissed off that Ezra Miller's still on it.
I mean, we talked about it, but I don't think we talked about it on the show.
Oh my God. This, what this reminds me of? That time that like Hawes and I did a podcast, and then like he called me up an hour later at like 2:00 in the morning, and he's like, I lost it. We have to redo it. So it's like, so obviously the second version of the podcast was like watered down. So I guess like we'll just do a quick watered down version of Flashpoint. So Flashpoint will be the Flash movie. You're pissed off Ezra Miller's back.
Yeah.
Looks like he's staying. So let her rip, Tater Chip.
I mean, there's not anything to say. It's absolutely insane. I mean, just recast him. Nobody cares about the Flash or Ezra Miller enough that you couldn't just recast that guy with somebody who doesn't beat women up. So just do it.
And as I frequently do on all my podcasts, I have yet, and nor will I ever, beat up a woman, and I can feel I can fit in a Flash suit. So please check out some of my early work, DC.
You want to play baseball?
And I would love to audition for the Flash. Thank you. Yeah, I am in the world of that we live in, where like what do they call it? The cancel culture.
Yeah.
That they're letting Ezra Miller get away with this. So I'm thinking there might be like another side of the story, or they never found that woman in the Costco's in Anchorage, Alaska or something. I don't know. And we haven't heard her side of it. But I can't believe in the world we live in that he's going to not be affected by that. I'm shocked.
It's really weird. I mean, it sucks for a lot of reasons, but also sucks because I really want to be excited to see Michael Keaton as Batman again. And that makes it much more difficult.
Well, I've been watching a lot of stuff that people are now known, creeps. I'll just use the word creeps. I don't want to get specific. But I've been watching a lot of shows and movies with now that we know they're creeps in them. And, I felt bad like hitting play, but like once I hit play, like I watched it and I enjoyed it. I guess you can, if you can separate the art from the artist and, acknowledge that the writer, director, the gaffer, the best boy, the screenwriter, the producers, like you're watching their work as well.
Sure, but I don't know, like there's a difference between like watching something like Usual Suspects.
How many keys, you cocksucker?
In English, please.
Excuse me?
In English.
How many fucking keys, you cocksucker? What the fuck?
That was made 20 years before you knew that Kevin Spacey and Bryan Singer were both terrible people, and supporting them if they made a movie. Like if Kevin Spacey makes a movie today, I'm not going to go see it.
So where are you with Flashpoint?
I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that one.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I do want to live my life and do the right thing, but like I'm definitely going to go see that movie. I don't know if I'll see it in the theaters because, that's not the type of movie where like, where it's Star Wars and I'm buying tickets 3 months in advance. If it's out in the movie theaters and the time and opportunity arises, I'll go see it, or maybe I'll just catch it on Netflix, Disney Plus, et cetera, or HBO Max, DC Plus, whatever they call it. Because I'm way too excited about the content, And like you said, Michael Keaton back as Batman, Ben Affleck back as Batman, and that opens up all types of other possibilities and other people will see. And not to mention that it's a very good story that he goes back and goes to alternate timelines and stuff. So we'll just see how it unfolds. And you know what? And he might still get replaced because there's a lot more people than just me and you in our little corner of Twitter complaining about it.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll see what happens, The Snyder Cut we did touch on a little bit. So let's just get right to the big, fat, juicy DC news. Holy shit, the Batman trailer.
The hell are you supposed to be? I'm vengeance.
I am already in love with this movie.
Holy shit, the Batman trailer. I've watched this Batman trailer, no lie, probably 20, I won't go 30. I'll say 25 to 27 times already. I am in love. It is, and I feel I coined the perfect phrase. I'm going to drop it on you now if you didn't see it on my Twitter. It is the Batman meets Seven.
I think, yeah, it seems like they're going some really creepy serial killer route with Riddler. And I am here for it.
And you are the biggest Riddler fan that I know, so please allow me to ask you, she who has donned the green suit, she who has topped the top hat, she who has twirled the cane, how do you feel about this, again, I'll do the phrase, the Batman meets Seven. Oh God, Kevin Spacey again. We can't avoid him. That Kevin Spacey character, crazy serial killer, like you said, that it appears the Riddler's going to be portrayed as in the Batman.
I think go for it. Do something new with these characters. I mean, obviously it was never going to be the goofy Jim Carrey or from the old Batman 66 show. It was never going to be that silly, and it shouldn't be. But so yeah, go for it. Do something just weird and scary. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, dude, they're going scary. When was the last time you saw Seven?
Oh man, probably 15 years ago. It's been a while.
Rewatch it. Dark, gritty, right off the bat who the good guys are. Pretend Morgan Freeman is Batman. We'll call Brad Pitt Robin. And just put the bat suit on Morgan Freeman, and Brad Pitt can be Alfred or Robin, and pretend they're trying to solve the crime, and I think that's what the Batman is. And he goes into other suspects, which is the Penguin, and wow, that makeup job, huh?
It's incredible. I mean,
did you know who it was? Twitter told me.
When I first watched the trailer, when I saw him, I went, "Is that fucking Colin Farrell?" And then it turned into the debate on Twitter of no, that can't be him. And so I started to doubt myself. But I thought it was when I first saw him. There's something about the eyes that still caught me. And so I was having to, I talked about it with a couple other people on Twitter, Chris Fresh DM'd me. He's like, "Do you think this is him or do you not?" And I'm like, I think it is, but I'm not 100% sure. And then the makeup department put up a picture on Instagram being yeah, that's definitely him. It's incredible.
I remember when Chris Fresh used to DM me.
You're now on Twitter.
I've dipped my toe back in Twitter.
Okay.
And then
so your DMs are open to be slid into.
Yeah, but there's this one huge chat I won't even open. I don't there's 18 people in it. I was like, how'd I get into that one?
You could just delete those. You can remove yourself from them.
But I don't want to offend anybody either.
Oh,
I just don't want to like get involved.
No, but I mean, okay, I'm not gonna lie. There's a part of me that's a little disappointed in the fact that Colin Farrell's an incredibly attractive man, and I enjoy an incredibly attractive villain, and was totally gonna be down for that. But it's so cool that I can't complain really.
I'll sign on for that as well. But like, dude, how good looking is your Batman now, though? Probably the best looking Batman.
Objectively, yes, but he's not my type.
What do you have against square-jawed pretty boys, Emily? Asking for a friend.
We interrupt Johnny talking about how hot he is to bring you Will Witten from Blue Harvest Podcast, talking about how hot Johnny is.
What's your next thing you saw that you wanted to throw at me?
That Lucasfilm is planning a live-action project for Grand Admiral Thrawn and Ezra.
It would be kind of weird to finish up that story in live action versus animation.
I mean, I wouldn't hate it.
Much like you, I'm not hating the idea. Just maybe not odd as it is surprising.
He would make a visually good, like a villain. Like the villain himself would be awesome and awesome to see visually at live screen.
People like your dad or my dad are like, oh, okay, so he was an Imperial officer and he's a blue guy and he's real smart. So
wears a white suit.
Yeah,
looks like Johnny Grasso.
I don't know that Johnny Grasso looks like Thrawn.
They have that steel cut jaw thing going on.
I see. Oof. You're going to be getting some lewd messages after describing him as having a steel cut jaw. You better watch out. He's going to be all on you over that one, buddy. He's going to be like, hey.
Well, at least it's a good segue to our next thing about hearing rumors about a Kylo Ren movie. Speaking of steel cut jaws.
Back to you, Hot Johnny.
There is something about Pattinson that I like again, like objectively, like I think he's an attractive man, but he's too pretty for me. I needed a little bit rougher.
I can see that. Like the whole like I'm not saying this is what you're saying, but like the whole the dad bod. Like girls don't want guys in better shape than them. So the dad bod wins.
I mean, like I can even go into like super in shape, but he's boyish. There's something boyish in his face.
No, yeah, the phrase is boyish good looks.
Yeah, and that's not what I'm into.
That's not what?
It's just not what I'm into. He's a little too like, even though he's all like muscular and shit, he's like his face is delicate looking.
No, he's a pretty man. I get it.
Like he's pretty. I would never describe him as sexy.
No, for sure. No, I understand where you're coming from. I get it. Oh, do I get it? No, I'm just kidding. I saw Twilight, every one of them. Didn't really enjoy. Actually, I think I broke it down one time. The first Twilight, I enjoyed the last like 5 minutes, and I was like, "Oh, that was a cool vampire fight." Sucks that I had to watch this 2-hour shit to get there. And then like the second Twilight movie, it was like 20 minutes I enjoyed. And then as they went on, it got more about like the battle between and like, oh no, the so-and-so Michael Sheen is going to kill everybody. And like, you know, and it got kind of cool in the battle at the end and the trick ending, like the M. Night ending type thing. I was like, oh, all right. But I never thought like he was this amazing actor at all, you know, until like his other movies started coming out. And I was like, holy shit.
There's nobody on earth who could play that role and seem like an amazing actor, because it's just a nothing like handsome vampire romantic lead. Like it's not an acting part.
Yeah, it's not. I actually like equate it to like DiCaprio's Titanic. You know, it was like, to use a sports analogy, it was like underhand softball. You know, it's like he didn't have to work hard for it. It was like it was a give me. There was nothing really super challenging there except to like act cold. Even like the stuff that between him and Billy Zane was like could have been good, because obviously those two hated each other and were competing for Rose, but he had to play it back, you know, because that's what the character would have done, not to seem like an asshole in front of Rose and whatever. And he had to like know, you know, he was still on the boat, and it kind of like I'm going way too far into Titanic. Never mind. Let me just stop here. But like it spoke of the class system back then. Like he wanted to go at him, but if he did, he knew, he was, the Titanic was a microcosm of America, and Billy Zane was gonna he was gonna come out on top anyway. Okay, I'm done. So I watched the trailer for the Batman like 25 times. I love how it's gonna be a dark whodunit. That's what it is. It's a dark, gritty, violent, gory. I think we're gonna get gory. Whodunit, and Batman is just gonna be like Columbo or Morgan Freeman in Seven, and he's just gonna solve the crime. And what did you think about this? Seems to be the most violent Batman.
I mean, it sort of depends how they do it. Like the trailer doesn't, because I have been very vocal about not liking the Zack Snyder stuff, but the Zack Snyder stuff seems to me to like try so hard to be edgy and shocking, whereas I think this movie just is going to be violent and it's going to be dark, but it doesn't have that kind of look how dark and cool I am feel to it.
Yeah, so the specific scene in the trailer I'm referring to is when he beats and I thought it was a Joker thug, but apparently there's some other gang that it looks like it's Joker makeup, but it's not.
The hell are you supposed to be?
Do you know what it is? Do you remember?
I don't. I don't know what it is.
But it's not. Because did you think the same thing? Like they were a gang of like with their own painted Joker faces?
I didn't think Joker, but that's just because like there's so many of those. Like every criminal in Batman has their little criminal gang. So I just assumed it was one of them.
All right, so he like faces off and he fights him and he wins the fight. But then after he clearly wins the fight, it looks like he beats him over and over and over again to kill him. Like to literally bash his skull in.
I'm vengeance.
Like in the Zack Snyder Batman, Ben Affleck had a couple great fight sequences as Batman. Like great fight sequences. But when the guy was defeated, he was defeated. Even if he like shattered his arm or crushed his leg and, threw him through this and that. It was like when the guy was down, he was down. Like that kind of like I'm going to fight you and I'm going to try and win. But when I win and you're down, it's over, Like I just watched Black Panther today, like T'Challa, like when he took out, I forget his name, the first guy who challenged him for the throne. He beat him, but he didn't like kill him. He had mercy. So this Batman is like without mercy.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's hard to know from one fight scene in a trailer of a movie that's not even done filming yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but like this is what they wanted us to see. So I think that's what they're telling us.
I don't know. I mean, it could be, but I don't know. I think at the end of the day, it's still going to be like a Batman movie, and they're not going to push it too far. But
think we're ever going to get Robin, like a serious Robin, like Nolan dodged the Robin bullet, Snyder dodged the Robin bullet. Is oh my god, I forgot his name. Matthew? No, who's the director of Batman?
Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves, yes. You think Matt Reeves is going to embrace the Robin?
Robin's really difficult to introduce in a serious movie.
I want a car. Chicks dig the car.
And I know there's lots of different Robins, and a lot of them have like very serious, tragic, like storylines and stuff. But I don't know. There's something about like the whole Batman adopts a young ward thing to set up in a movie that's just it's gonna be hard to do it and not seem goofy.
I mean, I'm sure there's a way to do it. I don't think we're gonna see it with Robert Pattinson just because he's so young. I don't know how old he is, but like you said, he looks young.
I think there's just something inherently kind of silly about sidekicks.
Well, Bucky was a sidekick. Marvel made it work.
Well, yeah, but the way they introduced it, like he came, like we know we got that story later. I think, and again, Captain America is a little bit cheesy.
Hey.
No, in a good, like it's supposed to be. Like that was the whole purpose of that character. Like that's why he was created, was to be, the American leader. That's like even within universe, he's like supposed to be the Captain America, and so he's allowed to be a little bit like rah, like what's the word? Propaganda wise, he'd have a sidekick.
No, I get it. So needless to say, you're pretty excited.
I'm very excited. I know it's a long wait yet, but I think it's going to be good.
I know, a really long wait. You know what my favorite thing Matt Reeves said? They asked him, like, oh, that sucks. You had to take a break from filming because of COVID. Have you been tweaking or working on the script? And you know what he said?
Mm-mm.
He said no. He said we got it where we wanted it, and we're happy with it. Like, how
like that.
Awesome is, dude? That's so cool. Because I know, as someone who wrote and writes and this and that, like every chance I get, it's like you just go through it again. You just pour through it. Like, oh, okay, I can tweak this, I can tweak that, and just pour through it. Okay, so that's The Batman from the Pop Culture Hour. So you saw Bill and Ted.
Yeah, I really, really liked it.
All right, so because I haven't seen it, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners, all 7 of them, haven't seen it yet, or maybe have. Can you give us a review, some highlights without spoiling it?
Yeah, I'm gonna be careful because I figured I know a lot of people around our age, like this will be a thing they're gonna see because Bill and Ted is like
awesome.
Yeah, it's great, and no, it is. It's silly, it's dumb, it's maybe like there's not much there, but it's very sweet. It's funny. Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter have a great chemistry still. It's fun to see them back on screen together. The actors playing their daughters are a lot of fun and give a really good performance. It's cool to see. We see Ted's dad back. We have Missy back. And I won't spoil the Missy thing, but it's pretty fucking funny.
Who's who's got Missy now?
And it's just like here's the thing. Those stories were always just really nice. Like that's the thing about both of those movies. At the end of the day, it's just about be excellent to each other. That really it's it's silly, but that is the message of those movies. Is they're just 2 nice guys and they're idiots and they're going about their lives, but they really care about each other. They care about their families.
So I got a question, and if you can't answer it because you'll ruin it, then don't. But didn't I see a movie where they did write the song that saved the world, and that's the premise, that they never wrote it? Like, do they explain that?
They explain that from the very beginning. That's like the opening scene of the movie.
Okay. How much did you pay for it? What service?
I got it off Amazon. I paid $25. I figure, and that is to buy it. It's not a rental.
And what's it to rent? Like, it's only like $6 less or some shit, right?
I have no idea. Because I had it pre-ordered, so I didn't even see the rental price.
I don't know if I can justify $25.
You know what? It's the movie I needed right now. It was just like it's only 90 minutes, which is smart. Like, get in and get out. It doesn't overstay its welcome. And again, it just felt nice to be watching something that was about being nice to people.
You might have sold me. Speaking of me not wanting to spend $25, did you hear what Disney Plus is going to do with Mulan?
Have we not talked about Mulan yet? I thought we talked about that.
No, now they went back.
Oh, okay.
They must be one of our 7 listeners, and they are giving it for free.
What? I hadn't heard this at all.
Oh, don't tell me I fell for one of those Mike Zero sites again. That would be so embarrassing. She's checking her phone now, people.
Comes out in September, it's the $30, but then it's going to be dropping later on Disney Plus. It's dropping in a couple of months. It's dropping in December for regular subscriptions.
Oh, all right. So maybe they just can't. They gave us a timeline to like the people like me that were like, nah, dude. Like I pay you $13 a month, and I haven't seen anything new since like the finale of The Mandalorian. But I'm still paying my $13 a month.
Yeah, and I it's entirely possible they moved that up because I mean, just like 3 months is a fairly short window for something to go onto their non like premium like rental or whatever. So they might have moved that up, but
you want to hear some more Disney Plus news?
Sure.
Zac Efron is going to star in the remake of 3 Men and a Baby.
Okay. I mean, I saw that movie a lot as a kid, but this is not you're going to ruin my childhood by me making 3 Men and a Baby. I think is a remake of a French movie anyway.
Oh, you're way out of my league on this one. Maybe. I have no idea. I saw when I was doing my little like writing film school thing, they showed me this movie called Babette's Feast. I'm just going to take a shot in the dark. Have you ever seen Babette's Feast?
I've never seen it.
Okay, don't. But apparently like in 1986 or some shit like that, it won like an Oscar for Best Foreign Film, and it was just like French people cooking and eating.
Vi mente jo ikke noget ondt med det. Philip og jeg ville bare opfylde Babettes bøn. Og nu, jeg kan ikke engang sige, hvad I får at drikke eller spise.
Like literally, there was no dialogue, there was no story, and I'm like looking at this like, what am I supposed to learn from this? And like I get it, like maybe the cinematography was great and it made the food look like I wanted to eat it, which I did, but you know, at the time I was like 300 pounds, I would have eaten anything. I didn't need great cinematography, you know, the fucking billboards of Big Macs and fucking the Subway was enough for me to eat. So
You're a very highbrow guy, Johnny Grasso.
Thank you. But yeah, so I don't know where I was going with this.
3 Men and a Baby. That's what we're talking about.
Yes. Thank you. Disney Plus. I love it. As long as I don't have to pay for it, I will watch the shit out of that. I like Zac Efron. I think those movies are hysterical. Fucking Baywatch, Neighbors.
I do hope they sort of, and this is the problem, is I don't know how you get away with it, because if you watch that movie now, it is very much the men taking care of a baby. How will they ever manage? Which is just insulting and ridiculous. And in the 80s, you sort of go, okay, yeah, but now it's like, okay, I know, like every dad I know is very, you know, involved in their kids' lives and being an actual like parent. And even the ones who aren't would know how to like hold a baby or know how to change a diaper or feed a baby and wouldn't be like, this is an alien that was dropped into your life like the dudes in like Ted Danson movie are. Suddenly there's this baby they're supposed to take care of. But I don't know. It seems like you have to do something to update it because it does feel pretty dated.
We'll see. Wow, only a couple more things to talk about. Maybe we should wait for Michael to come back to talk about the Netflix limited series called High Score, which is a docu-series about gaming. It started with Pong and then Atari and so on and so forth. So that's definitely up Mike's alley. But since I brought it up, did you by chance see it?
I've seen most of the first episode. It's one I'll go back to. It was sort of like whatever I was like. I had it on in the background while I was doing something, and then I finished whatever I was doing, so I turned it off. But no, it was interesting.
Were you a gamer, or are you a gamer?
No, I mean I'll play stuff, but I mean partially my carpal tunnel's too bad, so like I can't play, like I can't hold a controller for long periods of time.
Oh. I don't really, not that much. I don't play that much anymore. Don't play that much anymore. All right, so I think, so before we get to a couple emails that are like really old, so I apologize to you guys that wrote them We don't like to do emails when like we have guests on because you don't want to take away from the guest. And last episode 5, we had the amazing Steele on. So thank you again, Steele, for coming on episode 5. And if you haven't checked it out, check it out because he is the best at what he does, and what he does is funny.
It was a fun time.
A very fun time. Always a fun time. So you know what sucks is we could have had like a guest on tonight if I knew Mike wasn't coming, but he doesn't tell anybody. But before we get to that, the emails, there was I fell for it. I saw it on Twitter. It was Star Wars Episode 10, spoiler or news, and it was a picture of Leonardo DiCaprio holding a lightsaber.
It's DiCaprio time.
Johnny.
I mean, look, you know I was drawn to it, and I looked at it, and I read it, and then I saw who wrote it, and it was Mike Zero. The man would get his own address wrong. Crazy. Like, I guess he was having a slow day and just wanted to say anything he possibly could. I mean, there is Leo to Star Wars history, but that was a George Lucas thing. Could you ever see Leo in Star Wars?
No, not now.
I'm thinking now is more probable because, look, no one loves Leo more than me, clearly.
I'm flying!
He's got his Oscar now. I think you're going to see him loosen up.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if he really fits. I think he's one of those guys who's too recognizable.
Oh, you think he'd be bad for Star Wars? See, I was thinking Star Wars would be bad for him.
I mean, I think he's big enough that he can sort of do whatever he wants and it's not going to affect him either way. But seeing Leo in Star Wars would take me out of Star Wars.
You know he loves Star Wars, right?
I know, and that's fine. But like seeing him, like I can't see Leonardo DiCaprio and not see Leonardo DiCaprio.
Really?
And I think that it's fine. Like in, and it's not even about like the acting. It's just he's one of those guys.
No, I mean he's he's big. He's Leonardo DiCaprio. He's huge. He is our modern day Clark Gable. Like he has risen above the Matt Damons and the Mark Wahlbergs and the Denzel's in his own because he's not that generation. I'm trying to think of people in Leo's generation. But like he's risen above them. You know, it was like him and Matt Damon for a while. And then just like Matt Damon threw out a couple stinkers, you know, and Leo soared and Christian Bale is Leo's generation. Christian Bale's winning the Oscars, you know, but he's not like crushing box office when he's not Batman. Although Ford versus Ferrari, very good movie. So yeah, he's our Clark Gable, you know. It is what it is, and I get what you're saying that he might be too big for Star Wars, but obviously I would love to see him in Star Wars, and I think now that he's won his Oscar, he might agree to a Star Wars down the road, but like probably like a standalone film, kind of like how the Joker was for Joaquin Phoenix. You know, it was a DC movie, but it wasn't. It was the most recognizable villain, but it wasn't, and you'll never see him again. Like I can see Leo doing like a Rogue One of like a rogue Jedi, you know, or a bounty hunter. No, he would probably want to be a Jedi. We talk about Leo every episode.
Gee, I wonder who brings that up.
But he's in the news. Like it's not even like
okay, this was not he was in the news. This was it. He was in some bullshit you saw on YouTube.
It had like 10,000 views. As much as I don't like Mike Zero's business practices, I can't deny that it works for him.
Well, yeah, because he just lies about shit. It's not even he's wrong. He just lies. It's different. Like, it's not like, oh, there was some scoop that he misinterpreted. He just makes shit up.
Oh man. All right. So you ready for some emails?
Yeah, let's get into it.
All right. We got Jim Maines sending a video, so I will play this now.
Hey, pop culture crew. I wanted to talk to you about Daniel Day-Lewis a little bit. The guy is amazing. If you ask him, can you do a Scottish accent, he'll say, what region? And you're like, damn, okay, northern region. And then it'll be like, what century? Okay, so the guy is amazing. However, ever since I've heard you talk trash about it, well, you told that story back in the day on Rogue One, a podcast for winners. He's had a strike against him. It's like finding out your favorite actor is racist or something like that. But so one thing that I noticed that you'll like to hear maybe is that in Gangs of New York, when he was Bill the Butcher, he and that sheriff was going to be the mayor, the redheaded Irish sheriff, and he's like, I'm not going to fight you, Bill, but I'll let's come inside and we'll talk like men. And then Bill throws that hatchet in his back and he falls on the floor. Well, if you watch that scene, Daniel Day-Lewis throws that hatchet, it bounces off the side wall, falls into his path. He actually has to walk over his own weapon, and then it's still magically in the guy's back. So, you may not be quite as good of an actor as him, Johnny, but I bet you got a better fucking throwing arm. But so you were talking about Shutter Island the other day, and the ending, you were surprised that you thought Leo was going to snap out of it by the end, but he didn't. I thought that he did and realized what his wife did and said, lobotomize me, fuck that. And he couldn't accept reality, so he pretended. That's what I thought. Curious, I'd like to hear what you say on that. And Miss Lind, I'd love to know if... who is your Leonardo DiCaprio? Do you feel about any actor the way that Johnny feels about Leo? All right, guys, have a great one.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim, so much. That was a great video. I can't wait to see on YouTube. He's rocking a cool beard. Yeah. So go ahead, Emily. Who's your Leo?
I mean, we already, most people already know this, but, if you don't, it's Ben Mendelsohn.
Okay. That's kind of what I figured. Do you have a backup, like if it's not Ben?
I mean...
Because isn't Ben kind of new to you?
Yeah.
Like, when did Ben come into your life? Rogue One?
No, it would have been before Rogue One. It would have been, because I saw... Oh, what year was, Killing Them Softly?
Oh, good movie.
Killing Them Softly was like 2012. And that might have been the first thing I saw him in. That and Animal Kingdom, which is older than that, but I didn't see until later. Place Beyond the Pines.
Yeah, small role in that, right?
Yeah. That was when he was. I mean, he often plays villains, but that was when it was only scumbag druggies. But no, so who? Ah, man, I'm trying. I mean, for a while, this is unfortunate because for a while it was fucking Kevin Spacey.
But listen, he is a great actor. You can separate the art from the artist. So don't be ashamed of it.
No, I'm not ashamed of it. It's just sort of it's sort of just all the time, all the movies that I saw him in. And I mean, he was in some terrible fucking movies that he gave terrible performances. When he's playing 20-year-old Bobby Darin when he's 45 is a little bit ridiculous.
I didn't even bother. Swimming with Sharks, though, was a great movie.
I love Swimming with Sharks.
Listen, I'm a history guy. I can really tell you about some of these, Renaissance men that were complete assholes, but we still ship their shit, So, don't. I guess what I'm trying to say is don't beat yourself up for being a fan of Kevin Spacey's talent.
Yeah, I've always, and this fits with Mendo, although he's starting to move beyond that now, which is I've always been drawn to character actors. Those have always been my guys. My guys have always been not the leads. It's been people like Philip Seymour Hoffman and Steve Buscemi.
Philip Seymour Hoffman was in a movie called Happiness.
Ooh, that is a...
I don't recommend it to too many people. You have to be over 21, I think, for that movie. But that was my introduction to Philip Seymour Hoffman. And then every Paul Thomas Anderson movie from Magnolia to Hard Eight to, so on and so forth, like had Paul Thomas Anderson in it. And my favorite, had Philip Seymour Hoffman in it. And actually my favorite Philip Seymour Hoffman movie is The Talented Mr. Ripley, because he played like that uppity scumbag that I just wanted to beat up because he was rich and better than me. And he played it so well. It's just like, yeah, Jude Law was amazing. It was like Welcome to the World Jude Law movie. I get it. Matt Damon was Matt Damon. He was great, of course. Gwyneth Paltrow was Gwyneth Paltrow, sure. But Philip Seymour Hoffman with just like 6 minutes of screen time and like 7 to 8 lines just told you like, I'm better than you. I have money. I don't even want to look at you. I go skiing. You don't. Like, just every look and movement, he was just nailed it.
Yeah, he was a phenomenal talent, and anytime you lose somebody is tragic. But I think especially as a character actor, their opportunities only get bigger as they get older, and his best work was definitely still in front of him.
Yeah. He won the Oscar for Capote, right?
I think so. He was nominated at least, but
I think he won it. It's just shame. Like lost him. Obviously, we lost Chadwick Boseman today. Just fucking terrible. Oh, terrible. All right, so let's. We have 2 more. Jim again. Wait. Shattered Island. So Jim, I've never heard of that theory before, and I'm gonna watch it, and I'm gonna rewatch it probably like in the next like month or so. I'm gonna rewatch it, and I'm gonna check out your take on the ending and see if it clicks. Definitely want to check it out. All right, this is Ian. Hey, Pop Culture Gang. Last email was about your top TV shows. This week, I thought I'd keep it in a smaller vein and ask what each of your top music artists are. Ooh, this is going to be hard for me. Let me know what you think. And as always, may the force be with you. Ian, you usually tell us who your favorite is. So, first off, sorry it took us like a month to get to your email. Second, we're going to answer now. But, Ian, you got to write back and with your next question, please. And then tell us who your favorite musicians are. Ian's also a big history buff.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Hi. I get to know all 7 of our listeners. That's how we're still in business, baby. All right, so music. I don't think I know this about you.
I know this sounds weird as like a human person to say. I don't really care about music.
Okay. No, I get it because I'm not a huge music fan either. And ever since 2015, no. When did the Star Wars trailer come out for The Phantom Menace? Oh my! I'm an idiot. Menace? No. Force Awakens. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah. It would have been
the trailer. Was it 2014 or was it 2013? Whatever.
It wouldn't have been 13.
So we'll call it November 14. I know it was Black Friday.
I have no idea.
All right, let's call it November 14th. All right, November. Jesus.
November? It does not matter.
It does. It does because I stopped listening to music after I discovered podcasts. And the reason I discovered podcasts was because I saw this amazing trailer for The Force Awakens and I wanted to learn about it. And I knew podcasts existed. And everyone always said, you're a huge Star Wars fan. This is so funny. You're literally the person said to me, you're a huge Star Wars fan. There's got to be someone doing at least 1 or 2 Star Wars podcasts out there. So finally I was I saw the trailer and I got so excited and I didn't know anything about it. I was like, who's that? So I was like, all right, I'm finally going to dive into these podcast things. And now instead of listening to music, I listen to the Canto Bight Dispatch. I listen to Blue Harvest. I listen to the Sith List. I listen to Steel Wars, etc., etc., etc. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, we got to throw the Geek Dudes in there. I can't.
The Geek Dudes. I know, he actually came out with an episode today. I didn't get to listen to it yet. But my point is, yes.
No, it's not like there's no music I like, I like or anything, and I'll listen to it. But I've just, like you, I've mostly listened to podcasts.
All right, so like gun to our heads.
I mean, the one person I am super into is Bob Dylan.
Are you?
Yes. Like, I mean, what do you say? The guy's been playing music for like 50 years, over 50 years.
No, yeah.
Like, just released an album last month.
Did he really?
Yeah, it's bananas. Like, I mean, first of all, it's crazy the guy's still alive, considering the life that he's led. But also the fact that he's, in his mid to late 70s, still putting out albums for a guy who started when he was 20 and has done all, like, basically every type of music that exists. I love him. I think he's brilliant. He's gone through some periods that are not my thing, like the whole, like, that he did a couple of weird Christian albums when he was in his Born Again phase. Besides this newest one, for the last couple of years, it's been a lot of just like I don't even know, like classic American songbook, like Frank Sinatra type stuff, which I don't care about. But I mean, his body work is so big that there's a lot of stuff that I love, and he's probably what I listen to most. And speaking of Paul Thomas Anderson, and specifically Magnolia, Amy Mann, who did the soundtrack to that movie and is just a brilliant lyricist, and I love her voice, and I just love her whole like thing. She's great. She's the other person I probably listen to the most.
All right, I'm an American consumer at its best. Like, I'm a top 40 guy. Like, whatever is on the radio. Like, I love my my top hits channel on my Sirius XM. I love all that new stuff, and then I'll forget it the next day. I do love Dave Matthews Band, but that's not very current. I guess I've been eating up a lot of like Ed Sheeran.
Okay.
I love my Ed, and I call him Ed. Like people go like Dave. They're like, oh, you love Dave? I go, I love Dave. I love Ed too. So I guess I like that Billy Joel, because I was huge into Billy Joel in high school. Like, fat, ugly, pimples everywhere. Like, girls wouldn't talk to me. So like, me and Billy had a lot of lonely nights together. So I guess I like that American crooner, maybe. So the singer-songwriter, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, but then like I'll also like, I love me some Red Hot Chili Peppers and Live, and that Nirvana, Alice in Chains. So like I grew up in that era. So like I'm always gonna like love those guys. But I think the only albums I listen to, like, go ahead, like, put out an album with 13 songs on it, and I will just, is Ed Sheeran right now. Everything else is just 1 or 2 songs per person. And like, that was me and Dave in like the early 2000s, and like it was Billy Joel in like the 90s, So there you go, Ian. There's your answer. Thank you for that. Ian's got the greatest questions. Really like makes you think, right?
Yeah, you can discover how lame we both are.
I know we are lame, but like, it was fun to like share that part of me with you. You know what I mean? And stop rolling your eyes when I tell you like I didn't have any female attention in high school. I'm telling you, it's true. And
dude, it's not that I don't believe you. It's that you talk about it a lot.
Because it's who I am. People look at me and block me on Twitter for no reason, because they think I'm this person and I'm not. Like, when I close my eyes and when I dream and I'm in my dreams, I'm that 350-pound dude. People don't realize it. Like, I have the personality I have because I had to win people over with my humor and charm. Like, I couldn't just wink and smile back then. It doesn't really work fucking now either, to be honest with you.
Don't do that to me. I don't like that.
Sorry. See, I listen. All right. Last email of the night is from Rich Jafarjian. Rich Jafarjian and I go way back. Big Star Wars fan and Transformers. Hey, gang. Thank you for reading my questions each week. Keep up the great content. It's crazy that we live in a world where movie theaters are struggling to survive. When and if they do reopen, I'm not likely to be taking my kids to excuse me. I'm having trouble right now. I won't be taking my kids to one anytime soon. Some of my fondest memories are going to the movies as a kid and eventually taking my own kids. I'm curious to hear what your fondest movie theater memory is. I have one. You go first, unless you need time to think.
No, I need time to think if you have one.
The first movie. So I love movies, right? That's obvious. I don't just love movies. I love going to the movies. The movie theater is my sanctuary. It's like my place of worship. It's my sunset on the beach, you know? Sabrina likes to go to the beach and like look at the waves and soak in the sun and like yells at me for staying home and watching TV. It's like, you're doing what you love and relaxes you. I'm doing what I love and relaxes you. Just because you're doing it outside doesn't make your thing better than mine. You know what I mean? So my fondest, I have two. My fondest movie theater memory is when my dad took me to see Return of the Jedi and he was reading me what Jabba the Hutt was saying. Right? Obviously I love my dad and I miss my dad. He's not with us anymore. So that is probably the fondest, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also, when I went to see Chocolat, starring Johnny Depp, and first movie I ever saw by myself, and I was like embarrassed and scared to go to the movies by myself. I used to have to beg people to go to the movies with me, and I used to be like, I'll pay. I just don't want to go alone. I don't want to go alone. And then finally, someone said like, dude, why don't you just go alone? And I'm like, I can't go to the movies alone. And like, people do it all the time. And I was like, what? Really? So Chocolat, starring Johnny Depp, was the first movie I ever saw alone. And the movie was below average. And I still love the experience of going alone. And then ever since then, I like to go to the movies alone. Like literally like walk into the room and be like, hey, Sabrina, you don't really want to see Shutter Island, do you? No, that didn't really look good to me. Okay, bye-bye. I'll bye-bye. You know, like I'd rather go alone. You know,
I love going to the theater by myself. We didn't have a like movie theater in my hometown until I was in like middle school. But once we did, it was like a 10-minute walk from my house. So I went to stuff alone by myself a lot. And I still do. I love it. Because then there's no like, because if I'm going, especially if it's a movie that I'm the one who wanted to see it, if I'm bringing somebody else, then I'm worried about whether they're liking it or not. And I don't want to have to care about somebody else's experience. I just want to focus on whether I am liking the movie.
Okay, so you would hate Sabrina because she is the guilt trip queen. So when I do bring her to a movie, or she wants to see a movie, or I suggest a movie and it's bad, I don't never hear the end of it. What was that movie that won all the Oscars about the woman who like found the fish alien?
Shape of Water.
Shape of Water. So I heard all these amazing things about The Shape of Water. And I said, no, Sabrina, it won all the Oscars. Like, let's go see it tonight. Like, I'm curious. I want to see it. Okay. For the record, I didn't like the movie either. But she fucking hated it. And she was so pissed I brought her to it. And, like, I still don't hear the end of it. She calls it the fish movie, and I'm like, Splash? She's like, no, I like Splash. I wouldn't have minded if you brought me to Splash. She goes, that stupid movie. And I'm like, yeah, it was pretty bad. So, like, yeah, I feel you on that. Like, I get a lot of peer pressure from her when the movie's bad. I used to go to the buffet and, like, eat tons of food, watch, like, read the newspaper, read, like, movie magazines, Star Wars Insider, and then, like, go to the movie, and then, like, go back to the buffet, and then go home. Because when I, like, lived with my mom, and I had, like, that, like, $50,000 a year allowance, which I called a job, but, like, I didn't have any bills yet, like, I hated being home, and I would just go out and do that. Like, I saw every movie. I saw so many movies because I just couldn't stay home. It was just like, I probably should have just moved out, right? That didn't happen for a while. I'm actually moving back in with my mother. Did I tell you about this?
No.
So, like, me and Sabrina aren't breaking up or anything. But we sold our house, and we're buying a new house. but the closing dates didn't match up. So I'll be like living with my mom for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, I mean that could be worse.
It could be worse.
At least it's not like a year or something.
Well, it's almost like we're gonna be separated because she's living with her mom because there's really not room for all of our
everybody.
stuff. For everyone. So we're like splitting up the assets, if you will. Like, and she's taking the cats, which I'm pretty psyched about. I'm hoping Sabrina's mother falls in love with the cats and she keeps them. Because it's dog city, baby, when I get my new house. So it's like almost like a trial separation. I'm just kidding. Not like that. But like I said to her, I was like, dude, it's like we're separated. She's like, we're not separated, you asshole. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, well, can I just tell people we're separated and get them all like worried and I'll get all this attention and maybe like free dinner, outdoor free dinner at New Jersey and sympathy, and I'll pretend to be upset, and then like we'll just get back together on October 11th in our new house. She didn't like that.
That's quite the point. Oh, I can't imagine she didn't like that.
We should bring her on. I don't think she ever did Rogue One with Hawes on. I think she just like she did like 20 minutes on Rogue One when I was doing a solo. Like I brought her over, but like, would you interview her?
What would the interview be?
She won't talk to me. You'd have to like. I tried it on Rogue One. It was the worst 20 minutes I ever recorded.
Oh yeah, you're really selling this experience to me.
Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like she was terrible. I was terrible. It wasn't good. All right, you think about it. People, write in. You can tweet us at the Pop Culture Hour on Twitter or write in at the Pop Culture Hour at gmail.com. And please write in questions because they're really good. So that's the Pop Culture Hour at gmail.com. Send in some questions for Sabrina or some questions that Emily can ask for Sabrina. Let's see if we can get Sabrina on and interview her. And that's really it on the pop culture end. Where can we hear you and find you, Miss Emily Lind?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at EFLind. You can hear my Star Wars podcast, Canto Bight Dispatch, and you can hear my Vin Diesel deep dive filmography podcast, The Fan and the Furious.
A great name.
All credit to my friend Steve who came up with it. It's an excellent title.
Great. So he's a huge Vin Diesel fan?
Yes.
Ask him who he would like to see. Does he like Star Wars?
He does. He stays away because of the fandom, but he likes the movies.
Well, he's not wrong. Definitely ask him where he would see Vin Diesel in the Star Wars universe. Either someone he already exists or the type of person he would play. You know, he'd probably be like, I don't even know Steve. I'm sure he's great. Steve would be like, oh, he's definitely Han Solo.
I don't think so. I think you could get, because of like Iron Giant and Groot and things, you could get like him voicing an alien.
I forgot Groot. I forgot that.
Can't forget Groot.
Yeah, I forgot that. Does he really like get paid for that?
It's a job.
I know, but like, and I get it. Like he says it in a way you kind of know what he's saying. I am Groot. Yo, watch the mouth. You know, like I love it. I'm not saying he's not good at it, but like they're not paying him like Vin Diesel money to do that. Like it's 3 words.
I mean, probably the reason they're not paying him that much is because it's not like it's coming. He's probably gets paid what he would get paid for doing any voiceover, because it doesn't matter what 3 words you're saying. If you're saying 3 words and you have to say those 3 words 50 times, that's like having 50 lines. There's no difference there if you're doing voiceover. The amount of time it takes to do 50 lines of the same 3 words is still the same time it would be if you were doing 50 lines of any other dialogue.
That's a good point. Did he do Baby Groot and Teenage Groot?
I think he did all the Groots, but I don't know. Maybe not.
You gotta ask Steve.
I mean, or I could Google it, but either way, we'll say we don't have to get into that right now.
Well, that is it. So we're going to say goodbye. Again, everyone, thank you for listening. And please write in, and we'll check you back in a couple weeks. Until the next one.
Bye.